Hi everyone. This video is completely different to what I've made and what's possibly on YouTube. What I'm going to show you is exactly what's behind a error code or a fault code on a boiler display. And I'm going to do several manufacturers. So I'm going to start with Baxi, because we like Baxi, and their most popular fault codes, the 5, which are listed here. So I'll start from the top, F133. What does it mean? Well, basically, it's not one thing, it could be several things. And what you need to learn is the sequence. And that's the video I've just done, leading up to this one. So if you haven't seen it, please watch it and subscribe. So when you see an error code E133 on a Baxi display, there's going to be several steps, and I'm going to go through each one and explain exactly what they mean. And I'll do that on the other makes as well, and the other error codes. So without further ado, we'll go through every single stage of E133. Let's begin. To repair any boiler, you're going to need a fault-finding app, and mine covers 17 boiler manufacturers, so I'm bound to have whatever's wrong with that display. But remember, all of my apps, all the information comes only from the manufacturers, nowhere else. So when you go to Baxi, you've got several options, and the first thing you're going to do is to press the phone directly to technical information. If you're gas safe, you need to pick option 2 and then give them your gas safe number. So this is the sequence that I've done with Baxi's help. Starting from the easiest that a homeowner can do is just check you've got water. That will still be a 133 code. After that, everything else you have to be gas safe registered. First thing you need to do is check the gas meter, the standing pressure and so on, just nothing special that we do 7 days a week. And then go back to the appliance and check the pressure there, the standing pressure, make sure you've got enough, and you want to be somewhere around 20 millibars. And if not, then you need to look at the app pipe sizing, which we do. And talking of apps, we only make 8, and if you buy all 8 and download them, it's just under £40, and you've got everything that you need: pipe sizing, gas rate, and heat loss, and so on and so on. So that's the next thing you're going to do: check the gases. After that will be the trap, then the fan, pump, spark igniter, ignition electrodes, all that sort of thing. As you can see on the list, I'll go through each one and explain a little bit more in detail. When it comes to the most frequent fault in F133, it's going to be the trap. Quite often it's blocked, but also when you remove it, obviously clean it, but look at the connection between that and the main heat exchanger. That could be dirty and blocked up. So the water can build up inside the heat exchanger, and I've seen that. Unbelievable. So just make sure that the connection between the main heat exchanger and the trap is clear, so it can actually drip into it. And also the pipe going from there all the way out to the gully or wherever it discharges. Now, if it goes through the wall, it's going to be 30 mil. So if you're coming across still the old-fashioned overflow pipe, which is 22 mil, that has to be changed, and it has to be lagged if it's necessary. So look in the manual for guidance, or phone that manufacturer, or in this case it can be Baxi, asking for guidance. So that's important. And as you can see on this picture here, I've used a watering can, and I pour it down where the gas flue analyzer goes, and then watch the trap fill, so then I know it's not blocked. But also I keep pouring and pouring until it goes right through the condensing pipe out to the gully or wherever. So I make sure that when the boiler is condensing, it is actually discharging the water and everything is all right. So this is a biggie. Often not done because we forget. We tend to think. So always remember, installer, 30 mil through the wall down to the gully with lagging if necessary. When we come to testing the fan, we do that in the same procedures we test everything else. We look at the voltage on the PCB and then go to the fan terminals and measure those voltage that it's arrived, so the wire's not broken. Don't spin the fan because that's cheating. We want the fan to start rolling by itself as soon as it gets 230 volts or if it's a DC fan. But the procedure of testing is the same. So after the fan runs, it's always going to be an air pressure switch or sensors. So we test those in the same normal way. Nothing special, nothing difficult. So we can move on to the next section after testing the fan. So after the air pressure or the sensors have okayed it, the next stage is going to be the spark igniter. So same procedure, check the voltage on the PCB, check it at the spark generator, make sure it's arrived, and therefore it should start sparking. But after that, we're going into HT leads and the electrodes. And don't forget our book offer, and we've got some freebies to give away that I got from the NEC a couple of days ago to pass on to you. So I've got some really good stuff. I won't tell you what they are because when they run out, they run out. So as soon as you order the special offer, the 2 books, then I'll include 1 or 2 or 3 bits and pieces into them from what I've been given, because that's what I do. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and take care.